Hello and welcome back to another Rec Room tutorial. In today's tutorial, we'll be going over how to make a collection system. So I'm going to show you guys step by step how to do that, so let's go ahead and get straight into the video. Okay, so behind me I have a blue wall, and you don't need to have this in your game, but I'm just using it so I can have all my circuits organized and all together. I recommend that you use a wall or a collision to organize your circuits. So yeah. Now, the first thing that comes to making a collection system is trying to collect something. So this is a interaction volume, and it basically detects when a player grabs or uses the interaction volume. And you can see you have all these options. You have on use or hold completed, on hold, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. We don't really need most of this, so I'm going to delete the extra inputs and outputs that we don't need. So as you can see, we have our attachment mode, and it's currently set to follow. We're going to put that on detached, and we're gonna come down here, and you can see on use or hold completed. We're gonna keep that. However, for everything else except for our set locked, we're going to delete. So we're gonna go ahead and delete all these other ones. So all these on hold, on progress, on hover. We're going to delete these until we have set locked. Do not delete set locked. You can go ahead and delete the set interaction prompt, because these are the only two ports that we need to configure this interaction volume. And now your interaction volume should look like this. You can see that the interaction volume, all the other ports that we don't need are gone. We only need the on use or hold completed, or the set locked. Now what we're going to do is get this interaction volume and copy it 5 times, or however many things you want to collect. I recommend 5. It's always my go-to number. I'm also going to scale it up a bit just so that it has a bigger range. So I'm going to go 3 by 3. Then I'm going to go ahead and clone this 5 times. 5. And now I have 5 interaction volumes. Now you see it looks like we still have one interaction volume circuit board, but that's because every single circuit board is inside of each other since we set it to detached instead of follow. So if you just go to your move and just move all these circuit boards down like that. Now you have all of your 5 interaction volume circuit boards. Next, what we're gonna do is that I'm going to go to my connect tool, and I'm gonna click on this is locked to set it to true, and I'm gonna do that for all of them. So all you do is click the red part, and it changes the condition to true. Now, what we're going to use to track how much we've collected is using a int variable. This is going to count up by 1 every single time we collect a interaction volume. So I recommend you rename it to whatever you want. I'm going to change it to collected. Underneath it, I'm going to place an add chip. Then I'm going to place an if right next to the collected. Right underneath the if, I'm going to place a greater or equal to. Now you're going to connect it just like this. Now you can see on our add and our greater or equal to, these two bottom values are at 0. For our add, we're going to set our value to 1. So all you're going to do is go to your connect tool, click the bottom value, and then add up the value by 1. And for the greater or equal, we're going to we're going to put the value to 5. Just like so. And then we're going to connect the output of the collected to the input of the if. Now, when you collect one of your interaction volumes, you don't want to be able to collect it over and over again, which is why we have our set locks. So for each of your interaction volumes, you're going to go to your output and connect it to the set locked that is on the other side of your interaction volume circuit board, and you're going to do that for all of these. Just like that. And then on the output of the set locked, you're going to connect all of these to the input of your int variable. Just like that. Now we're going to get 2 player show subtitles and connect this if to each one. So the then is going to go to the top and the else is going to go to the bottom. I'm going to place down a string format. And then right next to that, I'm going to add a toString. The result of the string format is going to go to the string on the player show subtitle, and the value on your string format is going to connect to the result of your toString, the value on your toString is going to connect to the bottom output of your int variable. And in this format, you can type something, but I'm going to show you what to type. So on screen right now, configure your string format and type what's on screen right now. Me personally, I'm going to set the duration of my player show subtitle to 5 seconds instead of 3, just like so. I'm also going to change the duration on the top one. And for the subtitle on my upper player show subtitle, I'm going to put "You have collected everything," just like so. Now what this is doing is that every time we collect a interaction volume, it's going to add 1 value to this int variable. Now once we add 1 to this int variable, it's going to check if it's greater or equal to 5, which means if you have collected 5 things, it's going to check if you have, and if you did, it's going to execute the then, which goes to this, or if not, it's going to execute the else, which goes to this. Once we collect everything, we want it to reset so we can use it again. So I'm going to put down a list create, then I'm going to my configure tool, clicking list create while I'm using my configure tool, and you can see you can add input or remove input. I'm going to click add input 3 times so that I have 3 items on my list create. Now I'm going to add each of these interaction volumes to my list create. Now that we have all of our interaction volumes into a list, we're going to get a for each. We're going to place it down right here next to it. And the list will be connected to the items on your for each. And I'm going to bring my for each all the way around to the front of my player show subtitle. Now I'm going to connect the output of my player show subtitle to the input of the for each. So what we've done is that we put all of our interaction volumes into a list, and the list goes to the items on this for each. What this for each is going to do is it's going to loop through every single item and unlock them, or set them to unlocked. Because you know how when you collect something, it locks your interaction volume so you can't use it again? This is going to loop through every single interaction volume and unlock them so that you can use them again. And then once this loops through every single interaction volume, it's going to execute this done, signaling that the loop has finished. So if we want to unlock every single interaction volume, we're going to have to add an interaction volume set locked. We're going to keep this locked to false, and we're going to connect the item of our for each to the target on our interaction volume set locked, just like so. Once everything has gone through, so once you've collected everything, it's going to execute this done. Now you can set this to do anything, but what we're going to do is make it teleport the player to a targeted spot. So first I'm going to use a set transform. The done will connect to the input of the set transform. We're going to use a get rotation and a get position. Now I'm going to set the get position to the position on the set transform, and the get rotation will connect to the rotation on the set transform. Now for our target, I'm going to use a get local player, and I'm going to move these 2 down a little bit so that I can move my get local player here. And the get local player, of course, will connect to the target. Now what we're going to do is that we have to make a spot to where the player is going to be teleported to. So we're going to go ahead and get a vector component. I'm going to place it here just like so. Once again, we're going to set this to detached. And this time we're going to go to delete all board content and click confirm delete. Now our vector component has a single output. We're going to move this onto our wall of circuits. And the output on our vector component is going to connect to the get position and the get rotation. Now you can move this vector component wherever you want your player to spawn after they collect everything. So now that we've finished everything, there's a slight problem that we need to fix. You see, our int variable doesn't reset once it gets to 5. So this means if you reuse it, it's just going to complete everything on 1 click. So we have to set this value back to 0. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to clone this int variable, and I'm going to drag it all the way over to our set transform. Then you're going to make sure this value on your collected is set to 0, and you're going to connect the output of your set transform to the input on your collected. Alright, now we're going to come over here and test it out. So we're going to grab our first interaction volume, collect it, and you can see that you cannot collect it again after you clicked it the first time. And we're going to collect all of them. You can see our subtitle is going up by 1 every single time we collect one. And once we get to the last one, it teleports us to the vector component and says you have collected everything, and then you can reuse everything once again. And these are all the circuits, or this is a overview of all the circuits we have done together. So if you're watching up till this point and you have followed along, congratulations, you have just made your very first collection system in Rec Room. Thank you for watching, and if you learned something today, you should like and subscribe. There are also more tutorial videos on my profile, so if you'd like to learn more, go ahead and head over there to my profile, and you can see more tutorials by me. With that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time.